another video of my podcast. My name is Cheryl, and this is Cappuccino Crafts, where I like to have a little crafting group here and talk about knitting and sometimes crochet, and also books, because even though this week, spoiler, was a fail for reading, I really do want to make more time for reading and read some of the wonderful books that I have listed in my want to read. So yeah, books and also TV and movies I've enjoyed, or that are exciting, and other life and just general things that capture my interest and I want to talk about with you. Thank you so much for watching this video and choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me. You can also find me on social media. My username is Cappuccino136 on Ravelry, Instagram, and Goodreads, which is the only social media where I participate. And yeah, the spelling and also any show notes with details about projects, yarns, book titles, and show titles and other things will be in the description box below this video. So I hope that show notes are helpful for you if there's something you want to be able to look up and get more information on yourself. Yeah, so let's settle in. Please grab yourself a beverage of your choice, whatever you like, and get out your yarn, your hook, your needles, or maybe some fiber and a spindle or a spinning wheel even, whatever you need. And let's have a great knit night or crafting night together. Yeah, I am coming to you from Washington State in the United States. I share this house with my parents. I take care of them. And also we have a fluffy black cat named Stella, who is adorable. And yeah, I think that's all the introductions for anybody who may be new. And if you have been a returning viewer, then I'm so happy you're returning. And I hope that we can chat in the comments about whatever you want to chat about. Ask questions or talk about what you're crafting or what you're reading or watching. Yeah, that's wonderful. I do hope to have interactions with people here on these videos. Yeah, because I really do think of it like my my crafting group, my knit night. So with the socks, we have one completed short row heel with a mini gusset. Right, it's easier to see in the next one. But this is completed and the gusset stitches are picked up and it's back in the round again. And here is in progress short row heel. These are the insteps stitches, the front of the sock saved on a couple of double pointed needles or DPNs. And I'm working the heel on my 9-inch circular needles. And this part is the mini gusset right here. before I started doing short row. And then I'll pick up the gusset stitches along the side of the gusset, and that gives me a little more room, because just a short row heel with no extra room is not a good fit for me. I have a high instep, and I don't have dainty little ankles either. I have a slightly bulky ankles and a tall instep, and I need room. Yeah, so I found these instructions for the mini gusset with a short row heel from Mina Phillip in her, she puts it in every sock pattern that she sells. So if you buy any of Mina Phillip's sock patterns, you will get the mini gusset instructions as a separate file that you can use if you need it. But that file comes with every sock pattern that she sells. And I do enjoy her sock patterns. I was a part of her sock club. What year was that? Was it 2017? I think. I know, I'd have to look it up, but I was a part of that sock club, and I enjoyed it. And that was the first time I had done a mini gusset with a short row heel, because I had tried the short row heels and I knew they didn't fit. But I really hoped that the mini gusset would be the answer, and it works great for me. So now I have an option if I want to switch up my heel, if I get bored of the heel flap and gusset, which sometimes I do. And it's been a long time since I've done a short row heel, so I wanted to do one again because I didn't want to get too rusty on it. Because, you know, sometimes if there's something you only do like once every, I don't know, not even once a year, like maybe once every 2 years or once every 4 years, you kind of, it's almost like you have to relearn it again until you really have it down cold. So I'm glad I'm doing the short row heel, and the short row technique I'm using is German short rows. I like the German short row heel, and Mina in her pattern has a really unusual way of doing the German short row heel, where the technique where you turn on the way back, which I don't particularly like. So I found a really great tutorial video done by, I think her YouTube channel is Rocks Knits. Her Ravelry group is Rocks, which is great. But I will put the correct name of her YouTube channel in the show notes. And maybe in a subtitle here in the video, but I can't promise I'll remember to do that. But at the least, it will be in the show notes, the correct name of her channel. But she does a lot of tutorials. In fact, pretty much every Tuesday she does a different tutorial, a new one posts on her channel. She calls it Technique Tuesday. So she has a wealth of tutorial resources on her channel. And I really enjoy her channel. I enjoy her tutorials. She's very thorough and they're well filmed and clear. So I feel really confident recommending her tutorials as a good learning tool for anyone. But she has a great German short row sock heel tutorial that shows you 3 different ways to construct the short row heel. And it is great. It's really good. I like the third. She shows 3 different ways to make the heel. I like the third one. It's the one that I use, but she gives you a timestamp so that you can skip to that timestamp and go right to what your favorite one is if you want to refresh. And if you're totally new to short row heels, I don't know, maybe watching all 3 of them back to back might be a little overwhelming, but you could watch them one at a time. You can watch the first one, kind of digest it, or if it's not overwhelming, just watch it all the way through and get a really great overview of German short row heels. Yeah. Anyway, so I did sometimes with the short row heel turning, sometimes especially in the beginning, sometimes I drop a stitch at the end or at the front of a row kind of easily, which can be frustrating. And I don't know if it's the way I'm holding the needles or that I'm using the 9-inch circular. I'm not sure why I am prone to that. It may just be me, what I'm doing. But especially if you drop one of the double stitches that you've already turned, I had to go back and rip out because I lost one of my double stitches that I had already turned and I just couldn't pick it up right. I could not. So I had to I had to go back some rows, and the stitches are so tiny. It's kind of a challenge to pick them up when you've got a bunch of them that you're trying to save. So that was, I had a little meltdown. I'm not, yeah, I did. I had a meltdown over that. And, and somebody might think, I thought you were supposed to like knitting. But every once in a while, I do have a knitting meltdown when something goes wrong, especially trying to save tiny little stitches or stitches in lace and having them run back. Fixing lace is a bear. Anyway, so every once in a while, it happens. Knitting can give me a little meltdown from time to time. My mom didn't know what to make of it. She was like, "It's gonna be okay." I'm like, I know. She's like, "What happened? What happened?" I'm like, "I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it." But everything turned out okay. It was on this heel that it happened. So everything turned out okay in the end, and yes, I recovered from the meltdown too. So very good. And I am making progress progress on finishing the body. This is the edging at the bottom of the body of my cardigan. This cardigan pattern is the My Favorite Color sweater or cardigan. Anyway, My Favorite Color, and it's on knitty.com. And all of Knitty's patterns are free. It's a wonderful resource. And I really like this pattern. And I kind of expected just to do the usual, because there's garter edging at the neck and garter edging down the edge of the front sides. So I expected it was going to be garter at the bottom, and I thought it would just be garter, like, and switch from stockinette to garter and do the garter horizontal. But I love this attention to detail because at the neck, we picked up stitches here and knit this garter strip first. So this garter is vertical to the stockinette. And at the bottom, she wanted vertical garter band instead of just going garter across. So I am applying a garter edge, and the garter is vertical to the stockinette. I think that's what makes a good designer, that attention to detail, that when I personally am improvising something, I might not think through that detail. But because a really good designer takes the time to think things through and really has a mind and an eye for the little details, a good designer does things like this in a pattern, and I really appreciate that. So these, I'm doing the applied garter with DPNs because this is so short. It's only 7 stitches, but you pick up, I pick up this stitch, and then when I'm knitting this way, I end with a knit 2 together. That's how you do an applied border. It's actually a pretty simple concept. You just knit this strip, and then every time you're coming this direction, you knit 2 together and pick up another one of these stitches. Shawls use a lot of shawl patterns will use an applied border with lace or cables. Yeah, I've never done just a plain garter applied border, but it never would have occurred to me. I just wouldn't have thought about it, but what a really good idea. And I like the look of having the garter going vertical instead of horizontal. So I'm really happy about it. And I am about 2/3-ish of the way across. I'm over half for sure, and approaching 2/3. I only have this much left of my ball, but I have 2 full skeins balled up that have not been used yet. So when I have a feeling I am going to run out of this before I get to the end, but I'll just use some of one of the other two skeins, and then that should still be plenty. I won't need much to finish the edging for the body, and then those two skeins should be enough to give me good sleeves. I am confident of that. And they won't be short little, not short sleeves either. They should be full sleeves. So I think I think I'm going to use, I don't think I'm going to have a lot of leftover, which I love. I don't like having giant amounts of leftovers. I like it when there's almost the perfect amount of yarn for the project. So those are my knitting projects. I have not been crocheting on my blanket. I've been thinking about what I want to cast on next, because I'm going to be moving on the feet of those two socks. The socks are approaching the home stretch, and then I'm going to be finishing sleeves on here. So I need to be ready. I'll probably cast on something soon, but I have not settled on anything. Yeah. Part of it is because I can't think of anything I really need for myself, but I have this stash, and I want to use it. So I want to use my stash, but I can't think of anything that I've got to have right now, or that I need, really. So I'm not really sure. I have not settled on anything. I might do a small project just to give me more time to think. So maybe I'll cast on, an interesting hat, like a complicated hat that won't be like done in one evening, or maybe a shawl, although I really don't need another shawl. I don't, but they last a little longer. They last a little longer than a hat or fingerless mitts. Anyway, so I'm thinking about it, and thinking about maybe I could find some charity that needs hats or something and do some hats for a while, or since I really feel like I don't need anything for myself right now. I know, just thinking. Yeah, but nothing cast on yet. No certain plans. Did you set some goals or challenges for yourself for crafting in 2020? Last week I talked about how I didn't do that, and I generally don't. But I know it can be really helpful for a lot of people. It just doesn't work for me. Yeah, and I said at the front of the video that this was not a reading week, and it's not, but I want to talk about Doctor Who, because Doctor Who is back for the 12th season, and it started on January 1st, New Year's Day, and I forgot to talk about If you do not want any spoilers, if you haven't watched any of the new season yet, and you don't want to be spoiled for anything, then please let's say goodbye now. Bye bye. And yeah, don't get spoiled if you don't want to. But you've been warned, and now I'm going to talk about some Doctor Who spoilers. Okay, let's go. The two-parter had some big surprises. Big surprises. The first huge surprise that I completely did not see coming at all, not at all, not even a little bit. The Master is back. A new Master. And wow. And I like this new Master. I think the actor is great. I can't think of his name. I could put his name in the show notes. But he's really good. I like his interpretation of the Master, and I like his performance. Really good. And so I'm looking forward to seeing him probably a couple more times this season, because I think that's going to be a big part of the season arc. It does definitely look like they're bringing back the season arc. And I think the season arc is going to have a lot to do with Gallifrey. Yes, more Gallifrey, and some dark secret about the origins and the purpose of the Time Lords, which, not sure how I feel about that. I'm reserving judgment until I see what they do with it. I can see where it could possibly be done well, be good. I can also see many, many, many ways that can go very, very wrong. So I'm not sure what that is going to, how that's going to end up. I'm hopeful that it won't be terrible. And yeah. Oh, and the Master destroyed Gallifrey completely. He revealed that Gallifrey was destroyed. And then, of course, I was thinking, liar, you liar. Of course, the Master's a liar, so I did not believe it. But in that same episode, they even went to Gallifrey, a little quick hop in the TARDIS to see, and they confirmed that, yeah, it is scorched earth on Gallifrey. And then, like 5 minutes later, the Master admitted he was the one that did it. Okay. Wow. So, is this something that, can Gallifrey come back from this? Can the Doctor do some things in time that prevent it or stop it? Or is there another way to bring it back? Who knows? Or, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And then, in the third episode, the standalone, I thought the first half of the episode was the strongest half. And then two things. When you could see the whole monster, when you saw the whole monsters in full light and saw them like trying to move, they were not good. The first half of the episode, when they were like in shadows and you just saw really close-ups of the best parts of the monster, the scariest things, they were scary and they looked really good. And I was like, ooh, yeah, but those, the actors couldn't move in those costumes very well. And then I thought, I'm not upset at the reveal that Orphan 55, the planet Orphan 55 was actually Earth, that had been basically destroyed and made completely uninhabitable. I didn't have a problem with that at all. That was really interesting. But then I know I thought they'd made their point and made their case for the theme of the show about, we need to take care of the earth. We've gotten the warnings about climate change and the destruction of wars and nuclear weapons and everything else, and just that we need to make changes. We need to, I thought they made their case fine, really well, pretty well, actually, or at least reasonably well. But then in the last minute, that speech that the doctor gave, practically like to camera almost, was just a little bit like, doo 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 doo, after school special, the more you know, public service announcement level of bad. Yeah. That it was just like, yeah, no, that was way too much and not, yeah. They'd already set their theme and made their case and made it just fine. That was completely like a sledgehammer and not, I didn't feel it was helpful at all or necessary. Yeah. I do like that in this season, we've already spent one season with all the companions. It does feel a little bit like a crowded TARDIS, but we have had a season with all the companions and the new doctor now. So I feel like starting this new series 12, it's familiar now. So I feel like hit the ground running with the characters, and I feel like I know them. I can get right into the flow of the story, and I feel like they can spend more time on the storytelling and be much more efficient that way instead of getting the groundwork established for this group. So I hope that, I still want to see some character development and still want to see interesting things with the dynamics of the fam. But I'm glad that we're not in the groundwork level anymore. That's really good, really good. Yeah, so that is all the Doctor Who talk. And that also brings us to the finish of this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this knit group here, this virtual knit group. And I take care, have a great week, and I hope you and your families are well. And see you next time. Bye-bye.